Travel journalist Peter Greenberg. Peter, is it more or less concerning that you've got a door plug blowout, a nose wheel popping off, a piece of an engine housing that ripped off, an oven fire, that these are all separate incidents that are happening? Would it be more concerning if it was all door plugs?
Yes, all separate incidents. An oven fire has no relationship whatsoever to what we're talking about today and what the senators and congressmen are talking about on Capitol Hill. What it really gets down to is the safety culture at both Boeing and at the FAA. Remember, the FAA is a regulatory agency that is supposed to, under its mandate, enact and then enforce safety regulations. Over the last 5 decades, they've acted in many cases like Boeing was their client. The clients are really the United States citizens, not Boeing. And right now, the problem that we're seeing, and one of the reasons why the FAA has stopped the production line at Boeing in the state of Washington, is because of the inspections. The inspections are done by whom? And for the last 50 years, those inspections have been done by FAA-designated inspectors who turn out to be on the payroll of the manufacturer, Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, Lockheed. There's a conflict of interest that screams out to be dealt with. And right now, I think that's going to come up on Capitol Hill. And that's one of the reasons why those planes are not moving down the assembly line today, because the people who need to inspect them haven't existed yet.
Right. So where do you find them? How do you create this extra safeguard?
Well, it starts with allocation of more budget and resources to the FAA to hire and train them so they can truly be an independent investigative agency. I don't inspect my own car. I have to go to the DMV. And the same thing happens here. The FAA has not had the people to do it. And by the way, this is self-certification that goes back to the actual development of the plane itself. We learned about that after the 2 crashes of the Boeing 737 MAX in Ethiopia and Indonesia. And that's when we found out Boeing was self-certifying their planes as safe to begin with. Another conflict of interest. This is what has to be dealt with now. We know for a good fact, and this is good news, that the NTSB has determined it wasn't a design problem, it wasn't a materials problem, it was a manufacturing and installation and inspection problem. We have to solve that problem before we can be safe.
So in the interim, some of these grounded planes are going to take back to the skies. What's the message for the traveling public who are watching this going, well, I'm a little concerned?
Well, they're not going back to the skies without being inspected. But who's doing the inspection? The airlines themselves, given specific protocols by the FAA of what they need to do step by step before they'll be certified. So those planes that are coming back tomorrow and over the weekend at both Alaska and United will have been inspected. That's the good news. But in the long term, it's a bigger problem that needs to be fixed.
Right. And Boeing's credibility, we mentioned the stocks a moment ago, has plummeted. How do you rebuild that confidence first with the airlines?
Well, the airline has to take a proactive stance, which they've done already. The airlines are not happy about this at all. In fact, you can expect some civil lawsuits against Boeing for loss of revenue. But it's the FAA that has to take the proactive moves to basically say, this is how we're going to do this moving forward without exception, and Boeing has to accept that.
The Boeing CEO said he understands the gravity of this and he's going to work to rebuild the trust of the airlines and the traveling public. What's happening corporately at Boeing right now? Take us behind the scenes and what we know about Boeing's leadership.
Well, Boeing was on a race course, if you will, to deliver more of these 737 MAX 9s, because remember, they were grounded once before after the crash of the other models of the 737 MAX. So the question is, we got to rush more, we got to deliver more. The real issue is, can we do so in a safe environment? So Boeing has to have a little internal talk with themselves as to how they're going to move forward to make sure they can assure the public that these planes are properly inspected. Remember, it's not just Boeing, it's their subcontractors as well. Who is doing the inspection on their work? The buck doesn't just stop one place, it stops a number of places, but ultimately it stops at the FAA. They're the regulatory agency that has to change the rules.
Right, and the government not known for moving quickly on most things, so they're having these discussions now. How soon do we start to see some results and a change in the inspections and accountability process?
Well, in a long-term perspective, you're talking 3 to 6 months to get everybody back online. But until that happens, I wouldn't expect the Boeing production line to move quickly anytime soon.
All right, Peter Greenberg, thank you as always.
You got it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.